Okay, imagine this. You're a cosmic traveler. You've just arrived in the wondrous, massive hospice of this world, and you're looking up at a star-filled night sky, completely ready to embark on a meditative ascent. Today, in this explainer, we are diving into a really fascinating philosophical and theological text called The Supreme Sign. It takes us on a profound thought experiment. It asks us to look at the natural world not just as some random collection of atoms, but as a deeply intentional, interconnected system. Imagine looking around with fresh eyes, trying to make sense of this magnificent banquet that's been laid out right in front of you. So, taking all of this in, a huge question hits you. Who exactly is the author of this great book? That question right there drives our entire journey today. We're going to move from the macro scale of the cosmos all the way down to a microscopic seed, and finally into the realm of human consciousness, all in search of a creator. You see, the source material treats the universe as a vast, intricately written book. And if there's a book, our traveler naturally reasons there has to be an author. So instead of just accepting the universe as it is, we're going to interrogate it. We're asking the sky, the earth, the weather, and eventually humanity itself to reveal the one who set this whole thing in motion. All right, let's start our journey with Section 1, the Call of the Heavens, the first degree of evidence. The text starts our ascent by having us look up at the heavens. But it doesn't describe the sky as some empty void. It's an active, dynamic exhibition offering our very first clues. The author points out something wild. These celestial bodies, some of which are thousands of times heavier than Earth, are zipping around 70 times faster than a speeding cannonball, and they do this without ever colliding. I mean, just think about the sheer magnitude of that for a second. These massive stars and planets are held perfectly aloft, without any visible supporting pillars. They burn constantly without the need for observable fuel. To our traveler, this kind of perfect, synchronized movement completely rules out random chance. It's literally described like a giant, magnificent cosmic cinema screen. It rotates every single night and every year to display these captivating, ever-changing scenes to the audience of creation. This vast, perfectly ordered celestial dance is presented as the first major piece of evidence in our traveler's journey. It points directly to a single, unified creator who regulates the whole thing, kind of like a master conductor directing an unimaginably huge cosmic symphony. Moving right along to Section 2, Voices of Earth and Sky, or what we can call the atmosphere's message. Now, bring your gaze down from the stars to the sky right above us. The space between the clouds and the ground isn't just empty air. The text presents it as a bustling hub of life-giving activity. The author argues that elements like wind and rain absolutely do not act randomly. They follow swift, wise orders. The clouds are compared to a highly disciplined army that can hide themselves without a trace. And then, boom, upon a sudden command, they gather in minutes to water the garden of the world. The wind acts as this tireless servant, pollinating plants and allowing us to breathe, while the rain isn't just water. It's described beautifully as drops of compassion sent down from a hidden treasury of mercy. And then, a sudden flash of lightning and the crack of thunder. The author frames this not just as intense weather, but as a literal wake-up call to the negligent mind. It demands that we look up and recognize the master behind all this atmospheric power. It's like a blow to the head of someone staring mindlessly at the dirt, forcing the traveler to realize that even the seemingly chaotic, terrifying storms are being carefully managed by a most wise disposer. That brings us back down to solid ground for Section 3, the living page of spring, looking at life on the globe. So we're zooming in even closer now. The text pictures the Earth as this massive, perfectly stocked ship, loaded with provisions for countless living beings. After questioning the heavens and the atmosphere, the Earth itself invites the traveler to read its pages. We're looking at hundreds of thousands of plant and animal species emerging flawlessly from simple seeds. The author views this as proof of an unseen, merciful hand carefully directing all of this growth. Think about it. You have endless varieties of flowers, trees, and animals emerging from dirt and seeds that look almost identical to each other, yet they unfold with absolute precision. It's like 100,000 different kinds of specialized food and equipment being perfectly unpacked for all living creatures. And here's where the logic gets really fascinating. The traveler asks, how in the world can completely blind, unconscious atoms like hydrogen and oxygen perform such insanely complex biological tasks unless they are being actively commanded by a most wise disposer? I mean, simple, lifeless elements have no pity, no knowledge, and no awareness whatsoever. Yet they combine to form water, which then goes on to execute millions of incredibly complex, life-sustaining functions inside plants and animals. To the traveler, these unconscious elements must be following the direct orders of a conscious, powerful commander. There's just no other way. Take the Nile River, for example. The text points out how it flows through the burning, barren sands of Egypt and turns a whole place into an absolute oasis. But mathematically, the rainfall at its source doesn't seem anywhere near sufficient to sustain such a massive, endless volume of water. For a traveler, this river transcends apparent physical causes. It symbolizes a continuous flow from a divine treasury of mercy rather than just being a product of basic geology. All right, let's step beyond physical geography into Section 4, the testimony of humanity, delving into the world of men. Having interrogated the stars, the weather, and the biology of Earth, our traveler now turns to us, humanity. Specifically, those who have thought the deepest about why we're here. The text emphasizes this incredible, unbroken chain of consensus among history's spiritual guides. Throughout human history, you have hundreds of thousands of these brilliant figures, prophets in luminous minds. And even though they are completely separated by geography and massive spans of time, they all come to the exact same conclusion about a single maker. For our traveler, this massive historical consensus serves as a giant intellectual proof. Which leads us to knock on an even bigger door in Section 5, the light of revelation, stepping into the unseen world. Pushing further into the unseen, the logic here is pretty straightforward. If there's a creator who acts with such intense purpose and clearly wants to be known through all these magnificent physical works, well, he's not just going to stay silent, right? The text argues that revelation is actually the ultimate direct proof of God's existence. In fact, it presents it as far stronger than even the physical universe itself. The Creator doesn't just leave us to blindly guess his existence based on the clouds or the trees. Instead, he speaks, a pre-eternal speech that cuts right through the noise and delivers clear, direct guidance to humanity. And the text makes a really interesting distinction here between pure revelation found in sacred texts like the Quran and the more general, shadowed nature of everyday inspiration. While animals or just everyday people might receive a basic form of inspiration to guide their instincts, revelation is on a whole different level. It's described as being completely shadowless, pure, and authoritative, delivered to the most select prophets in order to guide the whole of humanity. Let's pull it all together now in Section 6, the unified cosmos, our final vision. Pulling way back, the traveler reaches the climax of the journey, viewing the entire universe as one single unified book. Without getting too bogged down in philosophical jargon, the logic rests on two key pillars. First is createdness, the idea that because we see things dying and being reborn every single autumn and spring, the universe clearly isn't eternal. It's constantly being created. The second is contingency, the realization that literally everything we see could easily not exist. Because of that, it absolutely requires an external necessary force to choose to bring it into existence. Think about this sheer scale of cooperation happening every second. From the mind-bending orbit of the Milky Way galaxy all the way down to a tiny buzzing honeybee. The text paints a picture of a universe where inanimate, completely unfeeling objects constantly rush to help one another. The sun helps the plant feeds the animal serves humanity. According to the author, this massive, flawless universal cooperation across such incredibly varied domains points directly to the existence of a single unifying administrator. So for our traveler, the conclusion of this whole meditative ascent is crystal clear. The entire chorus of the cosmos is singing the exact same song, unified in its testimony of the Maker. From the rotation of the galaxies, to the life-giving drops of rain, to the precise unfolding of a spring flower, to the consensus of human prophets, everything points unequivocally in one direction. The universe truly is a great book incarnate. And that brings our journey to a close. I want to leave you with this final thought. Whether you look at the universe through the lens of strict science, deep philosophy, or theology, this text really challenges us to look closer at how insanely interconnected everything is. Does all this order fundamentally require an orderer? If you found this explainer helpful in unpacking these really profound ideas, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves a good deep dive. I'll see you in our next explainer.